Okay, lesson 6, starting on page 51. So your teacher will give you some pattern blocks, and I'm just going to do it under here underneath the camera. Okay, how many blue rhombus does it take to build a scaled copy of figure A? Okay, so if I have a blue rhombus, how many more would it be in order for me to build a scaled copy of it? Yep. Okay, so does that make it a scaled copy? No. What did I only increase there? I only increased the width, right? Okay, so I did make it twice as long, but I also need to make it twice as height. Okay, now does it look the same? Yeah, so it's twice as long, twice as high. So how many total blocks did it take? Took a total of 4 blocks, right? Now, how about if I made it 3 times as long? What do you think? Got a guess? 4 more? What do you think? So you're saying 8 then? Okay. You're saying 8 more, so 12? Okay, let's check. Is that 3 times as long as the original? 3 blocks wide? Is it 3 high yet? How about now? Okay, so how many total now? Total is 9. Okay, last one. Let's try one more. 4 sides as long. How many total blocks? So I went from 1 to 4 to 9.
16.
You think 16?
Yeah, because you add 4 more.
You think 16 as well?
Yeah, 6.
Okay, so I need to increase the height another one. And then I need to increase the width. 16 is correct. Okay. Let's do the same thing with a triangle. I want you to try to guess how many triangles to make it twice as long, 3 times, and 4 times, just using triangles this time instead of a rhombus. Okay, so why don't you just guess, answer those 3 questions. See if you think it'll be exactly the same or not. All right, well, let's check it. Twice as long again. It's not going to show up very well on green. So here's our original shape. How many did you think to double the size? Yep.
4.
4. This one is a little different how you have to make it. Backwards. So remember, it still has to look like a triangle. Did I use a total of 4 there to double the width and double the height? It's now 2 triangles wide and 2 triangles tall. How about the next one? What do you think? Think it's going to be 9? That means I would add 5 more. Now it is 3 triangles wide and 3 triangles tall. And what do you think the last one's going to be?
16.
It would be 16. Okay, see a pattern? Okay, how about the next one? Now you have red trapezoids. Think you can answer that one? So you can go ahead and write 4, 9, and 16 in for all of them. All right, predict how many blocks it would take to make a scaled copy of any of them with a scale factor of 5. So do you see a pattern? Scale factor of 2 made us use 4. 3 made us use 9. 4 made us use 16. 5 make us use 25. How'd you get that?
Because like 3 times 3 is 9, 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 5 is 16.
Yeah, you're taking the scale factor squared. Because we're dealing with area. So 5 times bigger, it's getting 5 times bigger on the width and the height. So 5 times 5 would be 25 times bigger. And Cameron, how about 6?
36.
6 squared would be 36 times bigger. That is correct. Okay, now that was starting with 1 block. Now let's look at part D. Now I'm starting with 3 blocks. Okay, and I still want to double the width and double the height. Write down how many blocks you think it would take me now. Scale factor of 2. I want to double the width of that, and I want to double the height of that. See if you have a guess, and then we'll build it together. Got a guess?
Add on 6.
I'm going to add 6. So 6 more blocks, so 9. Other guess? What do you think?
9 is my guess.
Your 9 is your guess? Alright, I'm going to show it to you. I built it underneath here. Okay, and if you would measure that would be double the height. Notice I got 1 block high to start, now I got 2 blocks high. And it still needs to look like the original. So somebody count those up and see how many we got. 12. Now how do we get 12? Okay, how many did I start with? 3 times, scale factor is 2, right? So 2 squared. Just like we did over here. The only difference is we had to take it times 3 because we start with 3. So your answer for that one was 12. So let's go down to scale factor of 3. What did we find out over here? What I need to multiply it by? 3 squared, right? 9? But how many blocks am I starting with? 3, so I would have to multiply it. 3 times 9. It would take 27 to build the next one. How many blocks for a scale factor of 4? If I start with 1, it's 16 blocks bigger. But I'm starting with 3. So what's my answer for that one going to be? Three times 4 squared, or 3 times 16 is 48. Okay, why don't you tell me 5 and 6, please? How many I would need for 5 and 6? Got 5?
Is it 75?
All right, so it's 3 times 5 squared. 5 squared is 25. 75 is correct. And scale factor of 6. Faith, what do you think? Take quite a few more blocks when you start with a bigger figure, which makes sense, right? All right, let's kind of make another column. Do you want to talk about E or F? I'll try one more set here. E, okay. The parallelogram. So if I'm going to double that shape, how many times bigger is the area going to be? So just think double, 2 squared. Anytime you're talking area, you're going to square it. So what's 2 squared? 2 times 2? 4 times how many blocks I start with? Okay. So 2 squared times how many blocks I start with? So 2 times 4, it would take me 8 blocks in order to draw that figure. Just as a visual, I'm not going to draw another one out. There's what it would look like. There's the 8 blocks it would take. Okay, next one. Scale factor of 3. Well, what's 3 squared? 9. So it's going to be 9 times bigger. How many blocks did I start with? 2. So it's going to take 18 blocks to draw that figure. And again, here's what the 18 blocks would look like. Scale factor of 4, what's 4 squared? 4 times 4.
16.
Times how many blocks I started with?
32.
2 times 4 squared, or 2 times 16, is 32. Scale factor of 5, what's 5 squared? 25. Times how many I start with? 2 times 25 is 50. And scale factor of 6, what's 6 squared? Times 2. It would take 72 blocks. Okay, how is this pattern in this activity the same as we saw the first set? So how are my numbers or formulas the same from what I did here? How is it the same? Jonas.
You're using the same numbers, so you're just multiplying it by 3 and 2.
Okay. You are squaring the scale factor. Scale factor is 3. You take 3 squared. 3 times 3. That's how they are the same. How is it different? Why are my numbers so much bigger over here than they were on the first set? Lauren. What was the difference with starting with these compared to starting with those? How many blocks? Yeah, so why are my numbers bigger? Because I have to multiply by how many blocks I start with. Why didn't I have to do that with the first one? You're starting with 1, so you could take it times 1 all you want. It's not going to change your answer. All right. Page 54 says your teacher will give you a figure with a measurement. Work with your partner, and again, we're just going to do these together. So I'll just pick one and we will talk about it. Let's do a triangle. Okay, there's my shape. I'm just going to fill in this chart. What's my base? What's my height? What's my area of the triangle? Be careful. Remember how to do area of a triangle? 10? 4 times 5 divided by 2. 1/2 the base times the height for a triangle. So my area is 10. Now, if I were to make it a scale factor of 2, double it, what would my base be? 8. What would my height be? What would my area be with a base of 8, height of 10? Kinley? 40. Okay, how about if I triple it? What would my base be? 12. Height? Area? Twelve times 15 divided by 2. Did you divide it by 2? 90? Anybody else get 180 when you multiply them? Yes? 90. Okay, how about if it's half the base? 2. Half of the height? 2.5. So 2 times 2.5 is 5. What's half of 5? 2.5. Next one's going to get a little messy. 1/3. So 4 divided by 3. I'm just going to leave it as a fraction. Height is 5 divided by 3. And now I got to figure out the area. 4/3 times 5/3 is 20 over 9. And now I got to take half of that. Remember, triangle is 1/2 the base times the height. Anything I can cross cancel by taking it times 1/2. 20 and the 2 can cross cancel. So my area would be 10 over 9. Okay, now let's just take a look at a couple things. Let's look at our area here. How much bigger was it to go from 1 to 2? Times 2, right? Doubled. How'd the area increase? Okay, so notice everything went times 2. Area went 4 times bigger. Why? Just like the shapes we drew, it gets twice as long and twice as high. So it's doubling 2 ways. So the area is getting 4 times as big. Look at the next one. Triples. Triples. What's the area do? Times 9. Why? 3 squared. How about if I go 1/2 as big? Half as big. What happens to the area? What's 1/2 squared? 1/2 times 1/2. The area is 1/4 as big. So whenever you're dealing with area, guys, the scale factor squares. Okay, so we've been talking perimeter, height, width, scale factor of 2, everything doubles. But what's the area going to do? 2 squared times 4. Okay. Let's take a look at this one. In the summary, page 55. What is my scale factor? Okay, so going from 2 to 6, 4 to 12. Jonas. Scale factor is 3. How much bigger is the area, Maverick, if my scale factor is times 3?
What? How much bigger is it?
How much bigger is my area?
3 times bigger?
Scale factor is 3. What did I tell you have to do with area? Boston.
9 times bigger?
Area, you have to square the scale factor. 3 squared. Anybody? Yep.
3 squared? 9.
9 times bigger. 9 times bigger. Scale factor for area will always square. Okay, here's a perfect example. They got a great illustration of it. 3 times as wide, 3 times as high, 3 squared. There's 9 blocks there. Hey, let me give you a quick additional one. Let's say it's 4 and 12, and my scale factor goes to 16 and 48. What is my scale factor? Molly? 4. How much bigger is my area from the first one to the second one? Kellen? 4 squared, 16 times bigger. Area is squared. Everybody see that? Okay, how about if I go from this one to a smaller one and I go from 2 to 6. What is my scale factor, Brody?
2 to 6.
I'm going from here to here.
Oh,
Big to small. Half. How much different is my area, Rylan? 1/2 squared. 1/2 times 1/2 is 1/4. Okay, so your whole point, guys, area, you have to square the scale factor. That's the whole point of this lesson. Okay, your assignment starting on page 57. Notice it says draw a scaled copy of polygon Q, scale factor of 2. So double everything and you draw it. Compare the perimeter and the area. So underneath figure Q, what's the perimeter? What's the area of this one? You just count the blocks to get the area. On the new one that you draw, that is 2 times bigger. What's the perimeter? What's the area? That's what it's asking for number 1. Okay, number 2, make sure you explain. Number 3, make sure you explain. And number 4, make sure you explain. Okay, let's do one of the ones on number 2 together. Kinley, pick which number you want to do.
Let's do 2.
2. So it increases by 2. What does the area increase by? Remember, it's area. That should trigger something in your mind. Area, scale factor squared, right? So what's 2 squared? 4. So I need to take that number times 4. Yep. 144. Let's do one more, one of the fraction ones. 2/3. Well, what's 2/3 times 2/3? 4/9. So I need to take 36 times 4/9. Anything cross cancel there? 9 and a 36. $16 is correct.